Hey there, Phil. You've been down on Music Row now for about 20 years. Could you tell me just a little bit about how you work with people when they're an artist, a music artist coming into the studio as a singer, and one that comes in as a songwriter, the different techniques that you use to work with them?
Well, that's a good point because it's two separate careers. It's good that you mentioned that. A lot of people think that being an artist and a singer and being a songwriter is the same thing, which it's not. It's two totally, complete different careers. Although some artists are artists slash songwriters. So that's the first question that I ask somebody is, what are you trying to promote and what are you trying to do as a career? If you're wanting to be an artist, you go about being an artist. You'll take one route in trying to do that. If you're wanting to be a songwriter, then obviously you take another route, and your focus is going to be somewhere else. But there is people like Alan Jackson and a lot of other people that are artists, but they're also songwriters. So the two do overlap. And it's important to be able to write songs. I think everybody should be able, if they can write a song, they ought to write as long as they can see the paper and hold a pencil. Because you never know when you're going to write that big standard hit song that will make you a lot of money, your children, your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, lots of money. So, but to begin with, let's start with songwriters. If you're a songwriter, with a songwriter and the artist, excuse me, either one of them, how you present yourself is extremely important. I learned that many years ago. The music industry has changed a lot, and over the past few years, and it's moving in a different direction. But basically, the music industry is the same. You create a product, and you try to market that product. And to be competitive in the songwriting market, there's certain things that you have to do to be able to present yourself in a professional light. You need to begin with, a lot of people don't have access to be, to songwriting groups or the craft of songwriting. So they hear songs on the radio and then they write things themselves. But the more that you can get involved with songwriter groups, the more that you can learn about the craft of songwriting, the better off you're going to be. A lot of people say, well, if you write a song and you want somebody else to record it, you're not a singer or an artist, you just want to write the song. It's important to know that here in Nashville, Tennessee, the publishers here and the writers demo their songs. And they do that for a reason. And when I say demo, that means it's not just a piano vocal or a guitar vocal. Most anybody can do that now, sitting in front of their computer at home. People present their song demos. They will spend anywhere from $500 to $1,200 per song.
And does that mean that it's a professionally recorded? What do they get for that?
That's a song demo.
So tell me what that means.
Well, what it means is that you basically have the idea, you have your chord structure, you have your melody, and you have your lyric. And you go into a studio, and you have professional musicians record that song, hopefully the way that the writer is hearing it in their head. And it'll have drums and bass guitar and lead guitar and keyboards and acoustic guitar, steel, fiddle, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that's a full-blown demo. That's a song demo. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just was wanting to know how that is different from an artist coming into your studio.
Well, common sense would probably tell you that if Carrie Underwood could go in the studio and record a song for $1,000 or $1,200 per song, they'd be doing it. But songs in Nashville now, it's a totally different thing. A song demo is not for sale. It's basically to demo that song, to give producers and managers and A&R people at record labels to give them an idea of how that song could be if it was recorded by a major artist. That's why they call it a demonstration record. So it's done very quickly, and it's done as inexpensively as it can be done, because you want to have a tool to be able to present that to a producer or manager or a record label in hopes that a major artist would record it.
Now, you say as inexpensively as possible, but yet I expect that there's a standard, because inexpensive could be done in a basement.
Oh, absolutely it could.
Yeah.
And believe you me, people here in Nashville understand and can hear the difference. And it makes a statement. If you record a song in your basement and you do it with a drum machine, and you've got a keyboard, and you use the piano on the keyboard, and you use the bass on the keyboard, I can tell that it's a drum machine. I can tell that it's an electronic bass on the keyboard.
And as a professional, what are you interpreting from that?
It says that it makes a statement about how much you believe in your song.
Okay.
It's saying that it hasn't cost you a whole lot to do that, and
so a professional would look at that as an investment in your own product.
In your own product, absolutely.
Okay.
And when your competition, which is the big publishing companies here in Nashville, are spending that kind of money to make a song demo,
that's what you're up against.
Yeah, that's what you're up against. That's your competition. And now, let me back up and say this. Lots of people say, well, they say if you come to Nashville, then you don't need to spend any money. If somebody likes your song well enough, then the publishing companies will demo it, and they'll give you a writer's deal. Well, that's very rare that that's going to happen.
Okay.
It didn't happen for me. It didn't happen for my brother. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say, and this happened to us years and years ago. We brought a little song in that my brother and I had written, and it was just an acoustic guitar and us singing it. And we took it to a publishing company, and the gentleman there listened to it, and he says, "Well, I don't think that this is probably there yet." Well, we left the meeting. We met with some other people in Nashville, and had this one guy that said, you ought to demo your songs. And the reason that you demo your songs, the reason I'm telling you that is because if you'll demo your songs, then from a publisher's standpoint, if he doesn't have the cost of paying for a demo, it's already demoed, professionally done. All he's got to do is give it to his song pluggers to pitch it. Said you will more than likely have a better chance of getting your song out there and getting it pitched. Well, that's exactly what we did. We demoed 2 songs, and this was back in the late 80s, and they were like $600 a piece, which was a fortune for us at that time. But we believed in those songs, and ironic as it may seem, we carried it right back to the same fellow at the publishing company, played him the same song that was demoed that we had played with just a guitar and a vocal. And he liked the song. He said, yeah, we may be able to get this cut. So we were thrilled to death, and we said, okay, that's the reason that we demo. Mm-hmm. Now, let's say that you're Jeffrey Steele or somebody of that nature that is a great songwriter. You have a track record. You've had songs recorded by major artists. Then sure, you can do a piano and a vocal, or acoustic guitar and a vocal, and anybody in town will listen to it. But if you don't have a track record, and you've never had a song recorded by a major artist, you need to demo your songs, and the term we use is demo it to the wall. Make it sound as much like something on the radio as you can.
Okay, now let me ask you this. A lot of the people that you record at your studio are not established artists as far as nationwide, everyone knows them. You know, they are usually local, regional, very good singers, and they're looking for original work as well. Would any of the songwriters that come in to do a demo be able to get their songs recorded by one of these good artists that are still climbing the ladder?
Well, absolutely. That happens all the time.
Okay.
Matter of fact, there's writers in town that are just writers that try to associate themselves with artists that have just been signed to a major record deal. Because if
they're not assigned to a major record deal?
They don't have to be.
Yeah, because I'm thinking right now of all the great artists that are doing great self-promotions, that basically are not going down the major record label deal, and yet they have their own CDs, they have their own following on the various social networks, but they want a professionally written song that is probably in a catalog in Nashville. Would you be able to service those type of artists?
Oh, absolutely, we would. And there's lots of folks in the industry that come to my mind that are not household words, that are great artists and are making a great living in the music industry. They're using the social networking that's available now, and they're outperforming all the time. Just in some cases, they're not getting paid for the concerts that they're giving, but they have the opportunity to sell their CDs. So selling your product and marketing your product and it being professional is very important.
Okay, so if you had someone come in and say, I'm looking for a really happy type of a song, and it has to do with, we'll say, family and great, home values, would that be something that you might be able to provide them with? Do you do what I think is called a song search?
Yes. A song search is basically the same thing that major labels and independent labels do for their artists. Even if you're a singer-songwriter, sometimes you always want to go for the very best song. So if you have written, and you've got 3 songs or 4 songs of your own that you want to put on your album, it's a good idea to do a song search and find the best possible songs you can find from the publishing companies in Nashville. And, of course, you have to get a mechanical license, of course, but you do that song search, and that gives you the same opportunities as a major label artist.
Now, if I understand correctly, you offer the ability to do the song search because you have a couple of publishing houses, correct?
Well, we have publishing companies ourselves, but but we have access to probably 8 or 10 or 12 big publishing companies in Nashville.
Okay.
That we can get songs from.
All right. So an artist comes in and they pay for the song search, and then they get to choose what they want to record. Is that correct?
Yes, but now we're changing over here now. What we're changing over is into the artist.
Okay. Then let me just ask one final question then as a songwriter. A basic songwriter, who does a pretty good song, do they ever have the option to get included in a publishing house's catalog?
Oh, absolutely they do.
Okay. Is that something that you can arrange or you offer? Or?
Well, it's something that we can do, and let me explain the steps that's involved. For a songwriter to come from any part of the country and come to Nashville and be able to get a full-time staff writing job is just very unlikely, because we've got tens of thousands of songwriters here in Nashville that are working and writing every day. So what you try to do is you try to get that one song into a publishing company and try to get a single song contract. And a single song contract means that publishing company is going to take the song that you've written and they're going to give it to their song pluggers. And the song plugger, they're the guys that actually go out and take it to Brad Paisley's people, or whether it's his record label or producer or management or any artist that is recording in the next year to 18 months, that song plugger your song is included that they hear. So that's the that's the process that you go through. And if you can get a single song contract, that's your first step to getting a song recorded. There's occasions, not so much now as there was a few years ago, where people would give an artist, they'd see an artist performing at a venue, and they would try to get backstage and try to slip them a cassette or slip them a CD. Well, it's in this day and time, most of the time it's not listened to because it hasn't traveled through the proper channels. And because it hasn't traveled through the proper channels, the management or the road manager or the artist is not going to look at it seriously because it hasn't been screened, and it doesn't take it's not worth their time to listen to a 3-minute song that
hasn't made the first few cuts.
That hasn't made hasn't made its way up the ladder.
Okay.
Now, there's exceptions to that, just like there's exceptions to everything.
But say a songwriter comes to you, does the demos, and then wants to take it to the next level. That is an additional service that you can offer, is it not?
Well, it is.
Okay.
It is.
And you can also assist them in getting the song registered at the proper channels so that there's not copyright issues and.
Yes, each writer that we deal with, and that with all the publishing companies deal with, has to be associated or affiliated with a performance rights organization, which is either BMI or ASCAP Music or CSAC. And once you get affiliated with one of those, and you might want, that's something you can do your research on online. You can check out the services and benefits of being a BMI writer as opposed to an ASCAP or a CSAC. You can do your research on that and decide which one you want to go with. And then once you associate yourself with that, then you're in a position to where you can write your songs, and if they do get recorded through a publishing company, then the payment pipeline has been established.
Okay.
If you are not associated with BMI or ASCAP or CSAC, and you're not associated with the publisher, then there's no, if someone were to record your song, there's no way for the payment pipeline to make its way back to you.
Okay, and the payment pipeline has to do with whenever a recording plays on the radio.
Yes, any type of media, whether it's radio or television, and they're desperately working on the internet sales and that thing, and movie soundtracks. I mean, there's all different ways that that royalties can be made from a song. Okay.
All right, well, that helps the songwriter. So I want to thank you very much for assisting a basic beginning intro class, I guess we'd call it, to the songwriting business. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.